So I thought in this video, because there isn't really much Battlefield 4 news out and you've seen thousands of hours of Battlefield 3 sniper gameplay, that I'd tell you another war story, because I find them interesting. I like reading about this kind of stuff. But if you remember my last video, it was on the Charlie Brown and Franz Stiegler incident, a great uplifting story about a German working with an American pilot. So if you haven't seen that, I'll link it in the description, because that is a great story. This one, unfortunately, though, as much as it's an interesting story, it certainly shows the terrible side of war. And in a second, I'm going to show you a picture of a dead soldier, so you know what I'm talking about. So if you don't like that kind of thing, if that kind of thing offends you, then you might want to skip on the video by about a minute or something. This picture, though, here it is. As you can see, it's a picture of a dead soldier in a ditch. It's not actually very graphic at all. If anybody's not watching the video and just listening to the audio, it's just a picture of it looks like they're sleeping in the ditch. They've got a rocket launcher next to their head, and I'm just interested in what you think about it, just from sort of first looking at it, because to be honest, you're probably thinking, well, I've seen hundreds of pictures of dead soldiers. I mean, they're in history textbooks, they're in, all over the place, all over the internet from World War II. What's the significance of this picture? But I know the story behind this picture, and the events that led up to being taken, as you'll hear in a second when I tell you it, it just shows the worst side of war that you often don't hear about, especially with World War II, because of course as time passes, people kind of get a gilded opinion of things. But it's quite strange, because I'm only telling you this now because I happened to read a comment on an article I was reading yesterday on Robert Bales, who is of course an American soldier who went out of his base in Afghanistan middle of the night with his night vision goggles on, an assault rifle, and killed 16 Afghan civilians. Not Taliban, just civilians who were sort of trapped there in the middle of the war. But this comment under the Robert Bales article generalized from this, because of what Robert Bales had done, that mankind is now the worst, the least it had ever been. Like, people nowadays in 2013 and 14 are worse than they were back in World War II. Somehow people were better then. And I just thought this was strange, because in my opinion, I think there's always going to be dicks. There are dicks now, there'll be dicks in the future, there are some unborn dicks, and there were dicks in the past. That never changes, there will forever be dicks. People aren't worse, it's just that there isn't such a massive event like World War II where people can show what they're actually like. But back to the picture I showed you at the start, and my point in showing you that and then explaining as I did was to show you that there were terrible people in World War II just as there are terrible people now. Because the fact is, as much as some people become soldiers because they want to do that as their job, because they feel patriotic, because they're defending their beliefs and becoming a soldier, some people just become soldiers because they want an excuse to kill people. Now, what some of you won't have noticed in that picture was that was actually a woman soldier. Not a lot of people know that women did fight on the front line in World War II, but they did. And that woman there was apparently carrying that rocket launcher, and she was going to take out an oncoming enemy tank. She got held up by two of the enemy before she could fire, who disarmed her. Then they raped her in that ditch, and to kill her, they shoved a knife up there. And you can actually see the knife, which the photographer removed, because obviously he didn't want to take a picture. He wanted her to have some respect shown in this picture. So he took the knife out, and you can actually see it next to her right shoulder. So to the left side of the picture, in the grass, you can see the black handle, which is covered in blood. And I know what you're thinking, those fucking Nazis, I can't believe they did that. But you see, that woman was a German woman. It was actually American soldiers who did that to her. I just thought that story was interesting, like something you should hear, because it puts in perspective all of the other heroic things that people do. I mean, I was reading yesterday about a Victoria Cross has been. Victoria Cross is kind of like the Purple Heart in America. It's basically the highest award for bravery that you can get given in the UK, but it was given to a guy called John Baskerville. Basically, when the Allies were liberating Arnhem, I think that's how you say it, in the Netherlands, he was a gunner on an anti-tank gun, and they got absolutely rolled on, the Allies did, by just a massively superior German force with tanks, infantry, pretty much everything. And they got absolutely wiped at the start. Pretty much everybody died. I think he nearly got his leg blown off, John did, so he couldn't walk, but he stuck at his anti-tank gun, and he was basically the only person actually stopping the tank attack at that point. And of course, they received some reinforcements, the Allies did, but he refused to leave his post so he could keep Manus' anti-tank gun to obviously go and get his leg, to get carried back to a medical tent. And he just sat there with complete disregard for his own safety and defended the town for like literally half an hour. Managed to crawl over to another gun as well when the one he was using was taken out, just across open ground. All the other soldiers who tried to come to help him were killed instantly because he was so exposed. And he managed to take out a final tank before he eventually got shelled by one which came across from the side. But I just thought it's quite interesting when you can sort of look at the war as a whole and see the choices that the good and the bad people made. But anyway, I don't know if this story is interesting to you. I mean, I did log on to YouTube today and find that I was recommended a massive pink wool Minecraft penis house in my recommended link. Good job, YouTube. But thanks for watching, guys. There has been some more Saints Row 4 released gameplay of that. If you're interested, of course, comes out on Tuesday. I've linked that on the screen. It'll also be in the description if you want to check that out. I will be posting some of that at some point, and some DayZ Aftermath, because I've been recording some of that today and I've got some cool clips. Hope you enjoyed the videos, and I'll see you in the next chapter.